It really started as a domestic project.
An idea born out of a challenge.
The whole entire area of Hoima ran for a bit of time without water.
An opportunity shaped out of a problem.
You know, in 2007, we had a serious drought here.
It may have been incorporated as a retirement package for the former public servants.
If you are going to retire, you need basically four things. One, you need a cash flow.
But it turned out to be a stitch in time for water scarcity in Bunyoro sub-region. (2007) was the year. An acute water shortage hit Hoima district. Women and children were forced to trek long distances in search of clean water. Some protected springs had dried up in the past 3 or so years. In the desert of desperation and helplessness came an oasis of hope. The idea of finding a source of water for drilling was mooted.
We took a decision to drill a deep borehole, which was actually drilled on the 24th of June 2009. Basically, that was for domestic water consumption. We had done a very good geological survey of the site, professional work. So when we finished the drilling program of the well, we decided to test it, find out what is the yield of the borehole, and what is the quality of the water from the borehole.
On testing, the results were interesting. What was initially required for domestic consumption was 1,000 liters per hour. The source instead yielded 30,000 liters, exceeding the original estimate by 30 times.
That gave us a lot of confidence. Then number 2, we carried out a chemical analysis of the water that we had. Still, we had very good results. The water did not have any heavy metals like copper, lead, zinc, which are normally prohibitive, which are not good for drinking, human consumption. So the quality of the water was equally good.
And this is how the idea of going commercial was conceived.
Also, we looked at the market here. The market was basically dominated by one product from Kampala. At the time it was very expensive, I must say. Of course, now competition has lowered the prices. So the market was starved of bottled water. So we said, okay, let's go into this market. So we spent 6 years of putting together this project, looking at the market, mobilizing financing for the project, and also ordering for equipment, and then doing the construction work. So That was a period of about 6 years. So we were able to attain commercial operations in 2015.
The project rotated around 3 objectives: setting up and creating wealth for future generations, supporting government policy on industrialization and development, as well as promoting rural development.
Through creation of jobs and demonstrating how we can use electricity in rural areas productively. That creates a good example for a number of people who like to do these kind of projects. Instead of doing them in town, do them in the villages. Why not? Once you have power.
Today, it is work in progress. Here is where the production starts. Water is extracted from the borehole, sent to the reservoir, which is about 200 cubic meters. It is from here that it is subjected to purification using sand filters before entering the raw water tanks.
Then from here, we start filtering it. So we have our raw water pump, which pushes it to the sand filter. From the sand filter, it goes to the carbon filters. So carbon filters removes the organic and inorganic matter. From there, it goes to the precision filters, which is 5 micron, 5 in number, 5 micron filters. From the 5 micron filters, it goes to the RO system. This is the RO system. In the RO system, we remove the minerals, the heavy metals, the iron, lead, which are in the water, which have remained in the water. And then we get our pure, which we call the permeate, and the concentrate.
It is at this point that heavy metals are removed, including iron, before the concentrate is sent out.
From remineralization, our water goes through the UV system. From the UV system is used to kill the bacteria, generally microorganisms, which have remained in the water. So from the UV system, our water is sent for the stainless steel tank for ozonation. Then from ozonation, we send it for packaging, but it goes through the precision filters also. Those are 0.2 micron. They are called security filters. If anything has been gotten into our water, it removes that kind of any extra matter in our water before it's sent to the filling system.
With water purified, external matters removed, and minerals added, time for bottling begins. It starts with blowing and expanding of bottles to the required sizes before they are cooled to store water for human consumption.
They are blowing these bottles. All the bottles come from this. What we buy as a company, we buy this, which is called a preform. And this preform, when you take them through the machine, they are blown by the machines under high pressure. They come into these bottles. These ones fill 600 mils of water. The same machines you are seeing there can also blow these same preforms. These ones are bigger than these ones, but these ones can make 1.5, a bigger bottle. A bigger bottle which is bigger than this.
So these bottles are being blown by the blower inside here the machine. So this is the process of rinsing. This is our rinsing system. When the bottles enter the machine like this, they pass through the process of washing them. The machine washes these bottles automatically, so we don't touch them. It's the machine which does each and everything. So our machine is automated. So from the rinsing system, these bottles are directed to the filling. We have what we call the filling nozzles. So these bottles are being filled automatically. All machines here are run on pressure. If you see the shrink wrapping, pressure. Bottle filling, pressure. Bottle blowing, pressure. So all those are being handled by technicians. This one, the level of temperature here is at 3 bar. 3 bar, that's the maximum pressure, but the temperature goes to 100 degrees so that you can burn the shrinks. Here you can see this one is 190 degrees so that you see the bottles are packed together.
Wealth creation and rural development may be envisioned as some of the objectives on course. The third objective is seen to be visibly achieved. About 75 jobs have been created, out of which 85% have been given to locals. One such local is youthful Mildred at Gonza. She has worked here for over 5 years as an assistant production manager. There is a lot that she has taken home from this enterprise.
I do supervision of the workers and monitoring how work is moving, at the same time the store work. Actually, for me, I have benefited as an employee. Albertine has enabled me to get educated as an employee, because for all those years I have helped my parents do different activities at home and the rest.
And this is what the country has witnessed since the bottling business evolved. As part of Uganda's industrialization journey, a lot has been achieved.
It's very amazing to the extent that we now see very many, over 20 bottling companies. And that means that the need and the demand for clean water consumption has gone up. I speak as a businesswoman. I will not put my money in an area where there's no return on investment. You first have to do an analysis. So I believe the different business bottling companies that have come out, it is because there is clear return on investment. People need clean water. And so Rwenzori could not meet the demands. That's why Uzima came on board. Okay? That's why Highland Water came on board, among other bottling companies. So they came on board to meet the excess demand. So as the population grows, the demand for any product keeps on growing.
However, not all that is glittering is gold. Behind this undertaking lies a cocktail of shortcomings. High taxes are seen to be volatile and unpredictable. Business progress here is on the verge of falling with the open presence of high prices of inputs and the cost of capital.
We have local excise duty, which is 10% of every sale that a company makes. 10%. And we have pay as you earn. Yes, government will say pay as you earn is paid by these employees. But the presence of this company has brought about that revenue, which the government is getting through these employees. So it's also part of a burden on this company. Then there's an income tax, which is an annual tax of 30% of the profits. So we are left with, if your net profit is 1 million, government takes away 300,000, you remain with 700, which also is a benefit to the government. There's what's called the property tax. Property tax is levied by the local government, and we pay it to our sub-counties. Operation tax, this also is levied by the local government. We also pay it to the sub-county. We have VAT. Yes, VAT is recoverable, but it is a tax because it increases the raw material prices. Because when you are buying a raw material from a supplier with the VAT inclusive, and that means the money that you will have used to buy an extra unit of that product goes into tax. Then now, of recent, government has brought in these stamps, digital stamps, which are on top here. At first they were manual, paper stamps, but now they have been made digital with the ink prints. They are also a cost to the company. For every carton of 600 mils, we pay 368 shillings, and that unfortunately previously used to be our profit. But since we cannot increase the price of the product, we have given away our profit into extra taxes. So all these taxes eat up on our profits, and hence leaving us struggling to survive.
Such is what they say is hampering expansion strategies and continuity plans.
Taxes in themselves are not bad because we are all citizens. We are duty bound to pay taxes. But when they are excessive, like what we are incurring here in our business, when they are unpredictable, then you cannot put them in your financial model. So they really become a problem. So that is problem number one, is the high tax rate and the unstable tax regime, which is not predictable sometimes, and therefore cannot make you plan well for expansion programs.
The challenge may cut across all local investments, but government is aware and remains fair to all.
By law, which tax policy is passed by Parliament every year, I'll just give you by an example. For instance, the income tax. A foreign company is charged 15 million. That is for income tax. But a Ugandan company is charged 5 million. 10 points lower. So it is not true that a foreign company is charged more than less than the Ugandan investor. The Ugandan investor, if anything, is actually charged far less, 10 million US dollars less. So I want to make it clear, income tax, 15 million for a foreign company, 5 million for a domestic company. Another one, investment capital for at least 5 million, 15 million for a foreign company. That is when you're doing operation. So why we do this income tax differentiation, corporation tax, the tax which is uniform for at least every person is the exemption on raw materials. Plant and machinery is uniform. Everyone is exempted from plant and machinery for as long as you bring it for manufacturing and value addition. So you're exempted.
Government is neither relaxed nor seated, but rather working out a mechanism to address any encounters. Evelyn Anite is the Minister of State for Investment and Privatization in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development.
I am a local investor myself. I use myself as a litmus test. The rules of the game is uniform for anyone who is in manufacturing and anyone who is in a service sector, anyone who is in the ICT sector. The only difference is between a foreign investor and domestic investor. And I have told you the capital requirement is different for a foreign investor. The capital requirement for a foreign investor to qualify to get all these incentives is 15 million. The capital requirement for a domestic investor is only 5 million. But when it comes to the taxes, the tax regime is uniform. When you're exempting an investor from paying for plant and machinery, it is uniform. Plant and machinery, if you're Ugandan or you're a foreigner, all of you would be exempted from plant and machinery. The additional incentive that we give, which differentiates and puts a Ugandan higher and over and above a foreign investor, is when we want to give them an incentive to access to capital. So we know that they have to go to the banks and get credit facility. And other foreign companies come with their capital from their countries. And their capital access to the credit is very cheap. So for a Ugandan, we only want you to develop 30%. Once you've developed to 30%, we actually then give you the freedom to be able to go to the market and borrow.
For now, the production of albertine water in Bunyoro sub-region continues. The market remains readily available as the demand maintains high. Most importantly, the government policy on investment and industrialization remains favorable to both local and foreign investors.